The FIFA World Cup has entered the business end of the tournament, at least as far as the group stages are concerned. Today, we will know officially which are some of the other teams who will in fact know their status as far as qualifying for the knockout rounds are concerned. In fact, the fates of both Group A and Group B will officially be decided later on today. But how is it that each team currently stands and what it is that they need to do to actually make it into the next round? That's something that we are going to briefly discuss in this particular video. So hello everyone and welcome back to Sports Today. My name is Shane Reyes and today we are going to be looking at the permutations and combinations for each of the two groups who will of course be playing later today. That is Group A and Group B, and we're going to be taking a look at how it is that each team can still qualify. Well, each team except Qatar, that is, because they're the only team who are currently out of the reckoning. Amazingly, of the 8 teams who will be playing today, 7 of them are still in with a chance of making it to the knockout rounds. Of course, 3 of them will be disappointed, but which of those teams has the better chance in terms of their previous results and of course the final fixture that they have to play? That's something that we are going to look at right now. So without further ado, let's quickly take a look at Group A and how it is that things stand. Now for Group A, it's fairly simple. Pretty much every team has points on the board except for Qatar. In fact, Netherlands currently have 4 points with a positive goal difference of 2. Ecuador have exactly the same number of points and exactly the same goal difference. Senegal, who you remember, ended up, they were not so good in the first match, but they also have 4 points and a goal difference of exactly 0. However, Qatar are the only team, as I said, out of the reckoning, no points, bad goal difference of -4. So they don't really stand any chance because again, 3 teams have 4. So even if they win, all they'll get to is 3 points. No chance. Mathematically, the hosts are out of the tournament. But what about the other 3 teams? Well, other 3 teams, they will all have to get a win if they are to qualify. So Netherlands, Ecuador and Senegal can all still qualify with a win. But of course, all 3 of them won't get a win for a very simple reason that Ecuador and Senegal will be facing each other. But we'll get to that one in just a bit. For Netherlands, the equation is simple. All they really need is a draw against the host Qatar, and that's it. They're through to the next round. Of course, they will want a win to ensure that they will be guaranteed of the top spot pretty much if they can get a win. That of course gives you an advantage going into the draws as far as the second rounds or the knockout rounds are concerned. But they don't need to win in order to actually get to the next stage. However, Ecuador and Senegal, that match is pretty much a virtual knockout because whichever team actually ends up winning it will be guaranteed a place in the next round. It's that simple because both of them are level on points. So whichever team wins is through to the next round. Of course, a draw will work out better for Ecuador slightly more than it will for Senegal because Ecuador are currently second. So if a draw happens, goal difference doesn't change. So Ecuador have a superior goal difference. So for Senegal, it's absolutely must win. For Ecuador, they know that even with a draw, they can be through. That is, in fact, the equation for these teams. It's fairly straightforward, and of course it is straightforward mostly because one team, the host nations Qatar, are out of the tournament. But it isn't that simple if you're talking about Group B, because in Group B, if you look at the points table, you'll realize that every single one of these teams is still in with a mathematical chance of making it to the next round. Now that of course is the beauty of the FIFA World Cup. There's really no such thing as a weak team, and in fact even teams who are struggling can go into the final match there knowing that if they can get just one result to go their way, then they might just be in the knockouts, which, let's be fair, knockout matches can be a bit of a lottery. So you would fancy your chances to at least make a decent run of things, if not win the World Cup altogether. But all 4 of these teams, as things stand, could very well be in the knockout rounds. Quickly go over the table. England are currently first. They have 4 points with a goal difference of +4. Iran have 3 points, but a goal difference of -2, which is a legacy of the fact that they ended up losing their first game to England 6-2. USA have 2 points because they've had 2 draws. And because they've had 2 draw matches, their goal difference is a perfect 0. They've not, their goals conceded and goals scored is exactly the same. Whereas for Wales, they have lost 1 game and got 1 draw. So because of that, they have just 1 point, a goal difference of -2, but they can actually still qualify. As I said, all four of these teams are still very much in the hunt as far as a spot in the round of 16 is concerned. How so? Well, let's quickly look at it. England, being the top team, are in probably the best position because they have a positive goal difference and more points than any other team in the group. In fact, they only need a draw in their final game against Wales if they are to make it to the next round. Whereas Iran and USA, who will in fact be facing each other, they need a win. Because if they get a draw, then of course it does depend on other results as well. So you won't really know which of these teams are through. But of course, a draw will favor Iran slightly more. But of course, it all depends. But if you're either of those teams, you'd be wanting to win the match and say, look, you know what? Let's leave the differentials of goal difference out of the way. You want to be winning the match, and winning it straight up guarantees them a spot in the next round. Wales, by the way, have probably the toughest equation when it comes to actually, getting through to the next round. Because first off, they have a negative goal difference and they only have 1 point. So if they beat England, then they'll go level on points with 4. But they will also have to hope that Iran, USA, neither of these teams actually ends up getting a win. Because if it really comes down to it, then it's a lot of math involved, because potentially they'll need other results to go their way. Ideally, they'd want Iran and USA to play out a draw match, and they'd want to beat England with a heavy margin. So for Wales, the odds are not exactly in their favor, but stranger things have happened in World Cups. And in fact, in the world of football, you've seen a lot of memorable comebacks or improbable qualifications from groups take place on the basis of mathematics like this. So I wouldn't write Wales off just yet. But the first thing they'll have to do, and that's an easier thing said than done, beat England. Whether or not they can do that will determine if they stand a chance, because if they lose, then that's it. Or if they lose or even draw their match for that matter, they're out of the reckoning. They need a win, and they'll need it potentially by a big margin to improve their goal difference. And of course, England, as I said, all they need is a draw. Easy enough for them, but this group will definitely be the one I would be keeping a very keen eye on, simply due to the fact that all 4 teams can make it. So right now, the teams who are in the top 2 could potentially not even be the ones qualifying for the next round. That's just how close it is. Thank you all once again for joining us on Sports Today for this particular video. Don't forget that if you enjoy what it is that we do, you can like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell icon if you haven't already. And don't forget to also leave us a comment. Who do you think will be qualifying out of the respective groups? Let us know your predictions. It's always fun to make a call like that, even if you might get it wrong. No problems. We're all family here. We'll have a laugh and joke about it. And don't forget to follow Sports Today on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And last but not least, don't forget to download the AajTak app, where you'll get all the FIFA World Cup highlights, whether it be goal by goal or full match highlights as and when the matches are finished. You get them free, of course. So what are you waiting for? Download the AajTak app now, where you can also check out highlights from the Abu Dhabi T10 League, as well as the India-New Zealand series that is currently taking place in New Zealand. Thank you all once again for joining us. As always, I've been Shane Dias, and I hope to see you with us through the day. But for now, goodbye.